Hey guys, and welcome back to our final day of our daily interview algorithms. So, Merry Christmas, everyone. This is day 25, our final day. And just to wrap up, I thought it would be nice to go through the algorithm that I did personally for my current role. So, this is an algorithm that was given as part of a series of other questions, which helped me land a mid level developer role. So this was more on the kind of middle range of questions I was given, but it's one that you can do quite simply with a basic understanding of data structures. It's just understanding logically what you need to do, the actual problem solving aspect rather than the coding aspect that might take a little bit of time just to figure out. So here's the question that I was given. You're given an integer n, which could be 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever, and you need to create a method that creates a new array of size n. So if I've been given 5, then I want to create an array of 5 digits in it. And when you sum all those digits together, it needs to return a sum of 0. So here's an example. If I'm given 4 as my integer, then I want to return an array which has 1, 2, -1, and that should be -2. So if you sum that together, that equals 0, which is perfectly fine. And if you had 6, then you want to have 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3. Summed up together, it becomes 0. And then you do need to kind of take into consideration odd numbers as well. And just bear in mind that all of the integers that you're given, n, is always going to be a positive number greater than 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be printing to the console just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. So the first case is, what if you're given an integer 1, then you just want to return 1. So that's perfectly fine. What I can do is I can have a variable called num, and I'm going to assign it to 1 for now. And the first case to handle it is maybe just a standard assertion with an if statement. So if num is equal to 1, then all I want to do is write to the console. So I might want to return a new array with 1 in it, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to be printing the numbers rather than the array itself. So just console.writeLine 1, which is perfectly fine. Now the next case is, what if you're given a number 2, 3, 4, 5, anything that's greater than 1. So there's two things that we need to do. If it's an odd number, then we can't just have 1, 2, -1, -2. What about that last number? Say if this was a 5, then we would need one more number. And which number can we add that won't affect this sum of this array? We could add a 0. So if there's an odd number, we just want to make sure that we're adding a 0. So what we can do is start off by creating, now in C# arrays, you can't change the size dynamically, a fixed size. So I like working with a list, and then I'll at the end just convert it to an array. So var, and let's call it output list equals new list int. So it's type of integer list, so it's going to have integers. And if our num, whatever we pass in here, modulo 2, so if it's not equal to 0, that means if it's not divisible by 2, then we know it's an odd number. Then what we want to do is we want to make sure that we pass in 0 to this output list. So we can do that by doing add output list add 0. And then what we want to do is, once we've done that, is to decrease our value of num by 1. So num decreased by 1. So that minus minus just means a decrement of 1. Now the last step is, now that we've handled our odd numbers, is all we need to do is add to our array a load of integers that will equal what the value of num is. So all we need to do is for var, and we're going to start with 1. So we're going to add 1 first, and as long as it's less than or equal to half our value, so say if this was 5 or let's say it's 4, then as long as this x is less than or equal to 2, then we're going to add 1 and then 2 and then -1 and -2. So adding 1 and 2 and -1 and -2 should be pretty straightforward, because we know we've got this value x here that we can transform. So what we can do is output list dot add, and we're going to add the value of x, which right now is 1, and then output list dot add, and then we're going to add, now you could just do -x, but I just want to be really explicit here, so I'm going to do the value of x but as a negative, so multiply it by -1, and that should be it. So if we just walk through this again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign this to 11, so an odd number, and it's quite a high odd number, so you can kind of see how this works. So it's going to do, it's going to check if it's equal to 1. If it is, then we're just going to return 1. That's it, that's the end of our program. Or in this case, we're just going to be writing it to the console. If it's not divisible completely by 2, which in this case it is, the 11, you can't divide that completely by 2, then what it's going to do is first add 0 to this list, and then decrease this value 11 so that it's equal to 10. And then the last step is for each value of x that's less than half of this number, which is currently 10, so half of 10 is 5, we're just going to add the value of x and the value of -x. So 1 is going to get added, then -1, then 2 and -2, 3 and -3, 4 and -4, and then lastly 5 and -5. So you're going to have a 0, and then you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. And in total, that's going to give you an array of 11 digits, which is perfect because our original number is 11. So what we're going to do is we're just going to print every value that is in this final output list. So what I'm going to do is, don't want to do that, is for each var value in output list, all I want to do is print to the console whatever that value is, and let's give that a run. Okay guys, so there you go. And if we just have a count here, so we've got 0, 1, -1, 2, -2, 3, -3, 4, -4, 5, -5, and then if you count how many digits there are, so we had 11 as our original number, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So perfect. So we'll do one more. We'll do an even number this time, so we'll do 20. Right, so if we change this 11 to 20, and if we run this again, okay, so we've passed in 20. So if we just count the number of digits we've got, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's 20 digits, which is exactly the size of n. So there you go, guys. That was a pretty easy way of solving this. There are other ways, but I just want to show you a nice, simple, raw way of doing it so you can do it in any language. And this was one of the questions I had in an interview. Did manage to get the solution in the end. And if you can do this, then you're pretty much most of the way there to in terms of, I guess, basic problem solving, being kind of like in between a junior and mid-level developer. I did get asked a harder question in this as well, which I did manage to solve, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys kind of like a general like normal difficulty level question that you might get. Obviously there were time constraints and I had to pass all the test cases as well, so I didn't have much time to do this. It was like probably say about maybe 10 minutes at most, and yeah, that's it. So that was our last day, guys, and like I said, enjoy the holidays, and I'll be back with some new content. I've got some good stuff planned. I'll be back to producing the normal content, so see you guys in that. Catch you guys later. See ya.